So what if Truman discovered the truth about his world when he was just a kid? We've all seen the original ending to Truman's Show, where, after years of suspicion and investigation, Truman eventually discovers the cameras and the truth behind his world. But in this version, Truman finds out much earlier than he did in the original ending. This will obviously have some big effects on how the rest of the film plays out. When Truman is young, his parents are still on the show and are quite happy to be there. His mother even works backstage helping to produce the show. In fact, she's good friends with the show's producer, Christoph. Christoph would often bring young Truman onto the set to meet the actors and introduce him to his world. This gave Truman a sort of special pass to go anywhere he wanted on the set. One day, while playing on the set of a World War II movie, Truman walks into a forbidden part of the stage. He sees people in costumes that aren't supposed to be there, and then he sees the camera crew filming the set. Young Truman knows instinctively that something isn't right. He runs to his father, who is resting in his dressing room. Truman tells his dad everything he saw. His dad reassures him that everything is fine, but secretly, he's very worried. Truman's dad, who goes by the name Dave on the show, goes to see Christoph and asks him what's going on. Christoph tells him everything will be alright. The kid doesn't know what he's talking about, but Dave is concerned because it's clear that Truman has already started asking questions. If Truman were to find out the truth about their world, it could cause huge problems for the show. After all, nobody is supposed to know that they're on a TV show. If the secret were to get out, ratings would drop like a rock, and the show wouldn't be able to continue. So Dave and Christoph come up with a plan to make sure that Truman never finds out the truth. They pretend to be working on a movie together, telling everyone that they're filming a movie on the lot. This makes it so that everyone keeps their distance from Truman and doesn't talk to him anymore. Truman is confused and upset that his dad and the people on the show don't want to spend time with him anymore. As he gets older, he becomes more and more withdrawn and depressed. Christoph is disappointed in himself for hurting Truman so badly, but it had to be done. It wasn't safe for Truman to know the truth. As Truman reaches his late teens, he begins to put the pieces together and realizes that he might be living in a fantasy world. To test his theory, he tries to break one of the laws of nature, namely, gravity. He jumps off a building, expecting to feel the pain of smashing into the ground, but he doesn't. He floats slowly to the ground as if in a vacuum. He's scared and confused, not knowing what to do next. At this point, he's really starting to think that he lives in a fantasy world, but he doesn't know exactly what to do about it. At school, he meets a girl named Sylvia, who becomes his first real friend. She's different from everyone else and doesn't seem to mind that Truman is weird. She encourages him to be himself and helps him to overcome his depression. Together, they make a plan to escape the town and go to New York City. They believe that once they leave the town, they'll be free of the strange things that happen around them. When Truman tells his father that he wants to go to college in New York, Dave is relieved because he thinks that Truman will finally be out of his hair. He no longer has to worry about Truman finding out the truth because he'll be away at school. Little does he know that Truman isn't leaving because he wants to study. On the day that Truman leaves, he and Sylvia go to the train station. At the last second, Truman decides that he can't leave Sylvia behind. He tells her that they should run away together, and then they kiss passionately. Sylvia loves Truman and is happy to be with him. The two of them run away together and soon find themselves in New York City. For the first time, Truman feels like he's truly free. He's no longer being watched or controlled. He can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. However, he misses his family and friends back home, so he decides to return. When he gets back, though, he notices that something is different. The buildings look different. The streets look different. Everything looks different. He runs to his house, bursting through the door to find his father sitting in a chair. Dave is shocked to see Truman. He thought that he'd be gone for at least a couple of years, but before he can say anything, Truman runs out of the house, looking for Sylvia. He soon finds her in a park and tells her everything that he's seen. Sylvia doesn't believe him at first, but when she sees the fear in his eyes, she knows that he's telling the truth. They need to get out of town. Right now, they sneak out of town in the middle of the night, hiding in the trunk of a car. This time, they don't tell anyone where they're going, not even their families. They drive 4 hours until they reach a small town. Here, they live in a cheap motel and try to start a new life. They get jobs waiting tables and take classes at the local community college. For a while, they're happy just being away from prying eyes. But as time goes on, they begin to miss their old lives. They also miss their families, who are frantically searching for them. After a year of being on the run, Truman and Sylvia decide to go home. They both know that their families won't stop looking for them, and they're tired of running. When they arrive home, they find that things have changed. Their houses have been torn down and replaced with new ones. All the familiar streets and buildings are gone. It's as if they were never there at all. They find a couple of people who remember them and ask them what happened to their town. They learn that a hurricane had come through and destroyed everything. In the aftermath, the town had been rebuilt from scratch. Now that all the evidence of their old lives is gone, Truman and Sylvia decide to stay in town. They rebuild their lives, trying to make sense of what happened to them. One day, Truman is walking through the park when he sees a group of children playing. He remembers when he used to play there as a kid, and he can't help but smile. He thinks about how happy he was back then, before he knew the truth about his world. He realizes that maybe it's better not to know. Maybe ignorance is bliss. After all, Truman has found a way to move on with his life. He has accepted what happened to him and is trying to make the best of it. He may never know the full truth about his past, but he doesn't need to. He has Sylvia and the new life they've built together. That's all that matters. Okay, so that was a different ending to Truman's show. I tried to keep it as close to the original story as possible, but I think I may have strayed a little too far away from the source material. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.